90 or 95% of the real estate agents do not know that there is this clause 15A, which is being introduced by RERA, which has to be mandatorily incorporated by the developer for the protection of real estate agents brokerage. So ये जो clause है, ये 90 to 95% of the real estate agents को पता नहीं है.
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन, हाउ इज़ एवरीवन डूइंग. तो हमारा जो पहला सेशन था, बहुत सारी वैल्यू मिली हमें कि ट्रस्ट, व्हाई इज़ ट्रस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट, व्हाई इज़ ट्रांसपेरेंसी इम्पॉर्टेंट. तो महाराष्ट्र में वी हैव महारेरा अथॉरिटी. हमारा जो रेरा एक्ट है, रेरा एक्ट को इंट्रोड्यूस किए हुए ऑलमोस्ट 10 साल हो गए हैं. एंड महाराष्ट्र में जो रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी है उसको हम बोलते हैं महारेरा अथॉरिटी. तो महारेरा अथॉरिटी के आने के वजह से भी हमारे जो रियल इस्टेट सेक्टर है उसमें ट्रस्ट और ट्रांसपेरेंसी, ये दो बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ें इंट्रोड्यूस हुई है. तो महारेरा के इंट्रोडक्शन की वजह से हाउ हैज़ द रियल इस्टेट सेक्टर हैज़ बीन इम्पैक्टेड एंड हाउ ब्रोकर्स कैन बेनिफिट फ्रॉम इट, ये जानने के लिए हमारा अभी का जो सेशन है वो है. तो आई वुड लाइक टू वेलकम Mr. Parag and Mr. Karan, and I would love to welcome all the audience that is present here. So without wasting any time, I would love to start asking very insightful questions to both our panelists. तो सबसे पहले मेरा क्वेश्चन है पराग सर से कि रेरा हैज़ बीन देयर फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 10 years. तो आपके एक्सपर्ट एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से how has establishment and introduction of RERA and MahaRERA has impacted real estate sector for home buyers as well as brokers?
So first of all, RERA is going to complete 10 years in this 2027. The impact that is created is at a very different level because earlier there was no transparency. अगर कोई home buyer है, वो site पे जाता है approvals के लिए, पूछता है डेवलपर को, तो डेवलपर बोलता है मेरे पास सीसी है, मेरे पास एनवायरमेंट क्लियरेंस है, बट प्रैक्टिकली काफ़ी बार होता नहीं है डेवलपर्स के पास. आज वो सारी चीज़ें हम लोग को रेरा के वेबसाइट से पता चल सकता है दैट वेदर दे हैव द सीसी, और सीसी है तो कितने फ्लोज का है. सो ऑल दोज बोलते हैं ना कि एक स्टेप ऑलरेडी हम लोग आगे चले गए. सो अर्लियर ये सारी चीज़ें हिडन रहती थी, बट आफ्टर रेरा कमिंग इनटू फोर्स ये सारी चीज़ें ओपन एंड क्लियर है. सो ये सारी चीज़ें पे जो पहले क्वेश्चंस आते थे टू द डेवलपर्स और द रियल एस्टेट एजेंट्स, वो स्टॉप हो गए. सो आज कोई भी होम बायर रेरा की साइट पे जाता है तो खुद का पहले होमवर्क करके ही जाता है रेरा की साइट देख के. सो वो एक स्टेप बच गया है आई वुड से. सेकेंडली, द इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज दैट फ्रॉम ब्रोकर्स पर्सपेक्टिव, जो रियल एस्टेट एजेंट्स हैं उनको भी काफ़ी सारी डिटेल्स पहले से पता चल जाती है. काफ़ी बार ऐसा होता है डेवलपर प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च नहीं करना चाहता है, बट वो रेरा की साइट पे जैसे रजिस्टर करता है तो उनको पता चल जाता है ये प्रोजेक्ट है. सेकेंडली, कौन कौन सी इन्वेंट्रीज अवेलेबल है, कौन कौन सी अवेलेबल नहीं है. सो वो सारी डिटेल्स ऑलरेडी उनको पता चल जाती है. सो दिस इज अ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, एंड वन ऑफ द वेरी मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन इज दैट आई गेस करण सर वुड ऑल्सो अग्री विथ मी. अर्लियर बिफोर रेरा जो भी होम बायर रहता था उसको कोई प्लेटफॉर्म ही नहीं था. कुछ भी डिस्प्यूट हुआ डेवलपर के साथ तो कोई प्लेटफॉर्म ही नहीं था. कहाँ जावे, मोफा में जावे, पुलिस स्टेशन, पुलिस इज ऑलरेडी मैनेज बाय द डेवलपर्स. कोर्ट में जावे तो इट टेक्स लॉन्ग ईयर्स. सो नाउ अ प्लेटफॉर्म इज क्रिएटेड. सो अकाउंटेबिलिटी आ गया है डेवलपर्स पे कि अगर मैंने ये डिलीवर नहीं किया, ये इशू हुआ, तो आई हैव वन अथॉरिटी फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट वेयर आई कैन अप्रोच and I can get my justice. So this is the major transformation which has happened in last 10 years.
Very well said. Karan sir, would you like to add something?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with what Mr. Shah pointed out, that there has to be certain level of transparency which always required from the side of the developer, which ultimately has come up into the market. In addition to what Mr. Shah said, I think there's one more aspect, that is with respect to the finances, how it was to be handled earlier and how it is handled today. So we now know that the allocation of amounts which comes into the project has to be utilized for the project, and there is a mechanism in which the monies are to be utilized. अर्लियर एक प्रोजेक्ट का फंड्स जो होता था वो कभी कभी दूसरे वहाँ चले जाता था, बट एंड दैट वाज द वे द मार्केट was working. Now it happens to be that the market has evolved and the finances are to be used for that particular project where it has been infused. I think that is also one of the very good aspect which is in favor of the home buyer, that home buyer investing in that particular project will benefit out of it.
Completely agree. When we read the long title of the act, we can see that main objectives of the act are home buyers, protecting the interest of home buyers, as well as bringing accountability by making sure that there is financial discipline, and also bringing transparency. So Karan sir, I would like to ask you, आपके experience में what are the most important aspects of RERA Act as well as MahaRERA framework that home buyers should understand that they often don't?
So कभी भी कोई लॉ पास होता है, so what we feel is that RERA Act is there, so I don't have to be vigilant. So it is something like if signal लगा हुआ है, that means nobody will come सामने से. It doesn't happen that way. The world doesn't work that way. Concept in Contract Act is also there that the buyer has to be aware. It has to be aware of whatever is happening, and therefore the first step which starts after looking at the property, after somebody like a broker or a channel partner shows you a property, the next step, which is the first step then, is to do the due diligence, which the person forgets. The psychology of a customer cannot be, okay, I am safe, everything is registered. There are nuances which has to be taken care of even after the project is registered and has permissions in line and the effect thereof. So I believe that home buyers should be vigilant from that aspect as well.
I completely agree. Parag sir, would you like to add something?
So, as he rightly said, that home buyers has to be vigilant. Yes, but simultaneously there are many. The India's jurisdiction system is very, very tricky. It is not so easy. So even if they go for justice, it takes a long time. So in order to, बोलते हैं ना, precaution is better than cure. So in that scenario, what happens is that it is better to be well advised, well informed, rather than getting sick and then going for the treatment.
I completely agree. So I would like to ask you, Parag sir, what are some important provisions under this act, and what are some rules and regulations introduced by MahaRERA that every real estate agent must know about and they generally don't?
So here, I guess everyone needs to pay attention here, all the realtors, because this is going to be a very game changer and very informed point is that 90 or 95% of the real estate agents do not know that there is this clause 15A, which is being introduced by MahaRERA, which has to be mandatorily incorporated by the developer for the protection of real estate agents brokerage. So ये जो clause है, ये 90 to 95% of the real estate agents को पता नहीं है. So ये आप प्लीज जब भी फ्री टाइम हो तभी जाके पढ़िए. आप कोई भी रेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन का डॉक्यूमेंट देखोगे, रियल एस्टेट एजेंट का क्लॉज मेंशन रहेगा रहेगा रहेगा, बिकॉज इट इज अ मैंडेटरी. सो डेवलपर भी जब रेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाने जाते हैं ऑफ देयर प्रोजेक्ट विथ रेरा, दे हैव टू गिव अ ड्राफ्ट अग्रीमेंट. वो ड्राफ्ट अग्रीमेंट में ये रियल एस्टेट एजेंट का क्लॉज उनको कंपल्सरीली इनकॉर्पोरेट करना पड़ता है. सो वेन एवर देर इज अ डील विच इज बीइंग facilitated by a real estate agent, please make sure ये clause हो. This will protect you. So this is one of the very important point which 90 to 95% of the real estate agents miss out. Apart from this, there are other laws or rules that I would like to highlight is section 910, which simply states about procedural part of registration and functions of the real estate agent. Important is with respect to section 62 and 65. So that is the penalty. So here the important is the penalty clause. So penalty clause here आपका brokerage रहता है 2%, 3%, but the penalty is 5%. So that is an important thing that the real estate agent needs to know, because the penalty is higher than the revenue.
Would you like to inform the brokers that are here ki what are some reasons that can attract penalties?
So penalty is basically the majorly it's with related to misrepresentation. So developer बोलता है 2030 में possession देंगे, broker बोलता है नहीं नहीं developer तो 2029 में दे देगा, seeing the work progress, but practically they are not committing what is committed by the developer. There are amenities. So basically to facilitate a deal, developers क्या बोलते हैं, अरे इसका तो Olympic size swimming pool है. So ऐसा commitment देते हैं. But practically it is not the Olympic size. It is a bigger size of swimming pool which is comparatively bigger than other developers amenities. So this is one of the example of misrepresentation. So such kind of misrepresentation can lead to penalty.
I think we can safely say Maharera and RERA Act has focused on transparency and building of trust. RERA has been here for almost 10 years, but I think a lot of brokers do not really know in detail about RERA Act and Maharera. So, Karan sir, I would like to ask you, how can a good understanding of RERA Act and also information available on Maharera portal can help the agents provide their client more value, more guidance?
I believe this is a continuous question of what has happened, what we discussed in the previous question, because Mr. Shah is absolutely right that sometime it happens to be that the developer has given a timeline within which the project is to be completed, and with the overconfidence and the trust of for the developer, the agent commits, or I would say overcommits. But at the same point of time, what happens is that the timelines provided in the RERA project registration itself is not looked at. So for an example, it's already on the portal that on an XYZ date, already the possession is to be given. The project completion has to happen on that date. Then it is irrespective of what you and I say. Secondly, what happens is agent fails to understand that there may be a possibility of an extension, which is possible in the RERA registry authority itself, which they have the right to do. And what happens is there is a play of what is given in the AFS, that is the agreement for sale, and what is the play between what is the completion date. And then what happens is the matters usually come in this fashion that आपने तो ये बताया था कि 2030 में तो हो जाना चाहिए था, 32 तक नहीं हुआ, क्यों? So then you will have, when the brokers will say, oh, because there is an extension given in the by the RERA authority, I cannot do anything. Now there is a question which the purchaser will ask, मेरे AFS में तो ये लिखा है, अब क्या करूँ? So all of these games which happen on a later date, maybe it is because of I as a broker am not aware of the particular nuances and the things which happen in the AFS and the RERA registry. So therefore, it is mandated, and as today, it's an era of technology where people are aware when the buyers come in, they know more than you and me about the land, about how much amenities is going to, be provided. And therefore, in addition, what you can do is to give them that reliability and trust by actually doing a thorough diligence of what is there in the project. As a broker, you have to know, and that you can share with the buyer, so that buyer is not into that position that he feels deceived. So this is what I believe should happen.
Parag sir, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, so basically, as he rightly said, that the real estate agents, now what has happened in this era, that since the data is freely available, it has become mandatory for the real estate agents, not legally, but yes, practically or the business wise, to first inform themselves, and then you pitch those projects to the clients. Because just the earlier system will not work now. Just pitching the projects to the client without having informed themselves. So here, the real estate agents themselves needs to know about the legalities of the project, about the title, about the structure, about the quality, because nowadays what has happened is that home buyers are very well informed, and before coming even to the real estate agent, they ask 10 questions. अरे इसमें amenities क्या होगा? अरे इसका land owner कौन है? मुझे ये land lease पे है या ownership है? So such kind of questions which were not, the agents were not used to such kind of questions earlier, but now those questions have started coming into picture. They needs to be informed.
I absolutely agree. Even in section 10, we know that real estate agents are required under this act to provide correct information, reliable information to the clients. So I would like to ask one more question that was relating to this question. As Parag sir said, that the brokers should be well informed, and as Karan sir said, that the brokers should do a due diligence. So let's say brokers who are present here, they want to take a step further to use the RERA portal to research the properties or to do due diligence before they can guide their clients. So what would be the first step, or what would be first few steps towards that?
So basically, the first step is going on the RERA website, just checking all the details. Now, here we need to understand that it is not just RERA website. There are, which the brokers are not aware, or I would say the general public is not aware, there is so much data which is available freely. It is not that you need to pay. It is the government website, like the IGR website, that is the registration department website. There, ये साल में कौन से प्रोजेक्ट में कितने फ्लैट्स रजिस्टर हुए along with their agreement value index 2 is freely available, which the general public doesn't know. Even you can even give 100 rupees and you can download the entire agreement which is executed between the buyer and the developer, or even the development agreement. You just need to pay 100 rupees. So it's nothing. It's basically so much of data is available in the public portal, but the only thing is knowledge to access those data. Even when the file is passed by the MCGM, I'm not saying of MADA and SRA, but MCGM, you can see whether fire approval है, उनका plan approved है, architect कौन है, उनका PRC, property card पे नाम किसका है, every detail, every small detail which they submit to MCGM is available on the public portal. So just RERA website is just a first step. But if you want to deep dive, then there are many other portals which are available. Even there is a portal for property card which is available freely. DP remarks freely available. So everything is freely available by the government, but you just need to grab those opportunities. So just that you need to educate yourself and go step by step.
Thank you so much, sir. I think a lot of us did not know about these websites, so this was very insightful. Karan sir, I would like to ask you, what are the most common situations where the brokers unknowingly violate RERA or RERA Act, and how can they protect themselves?
So I'll keep it very crisp in this, giving a very short example. Imagine the building is getting constructed today and we've reached on the 17th floor. The buyer comes to you, the prospective buyer comes to a broker and says, मुझे ये project देखना है. He looks at the project, he likes it, the number which he likes is floor number 19. He says 1901 में दिखाओ कुछ. It's like a building में 17 floors ही बने हैं. हाँ तो मुझे कोई problem नहीं, sample flat दिखा दो. Now what happens is, the broker should be aware of whether permission till 19th floor is given or not. If permission is not given, how are you going to show? But what happens is that the broker feels कि हाँ वो तो हो जाएगा ना, थई जैसे. वो थई जैसे में ना बहुत सारा problem हो जाता है. So therefore what happens is that only not on the words of the developer, because even developer sometimes fails to map everything all the time by himself, because all the other teams are working for permissions and everything. He may not be sometimes aware of. And therefore, even the broker has to ask whether this permission has come or not, and has to map it with the regulatory authority which is already providing all those details. So rather than just going without any thorough information, check the data which is available, and then confirm with the developer and answer the questions. So I think this is well informed broker and advisor for any customer.
Okay, so one last question. Let us treat it as a rapid fire question. What is only one thing, if the audience could take only one thing from this session, what would that be? And this is a rapid fire question, so very quick answer.
Only one and simple point which I said earlier in my panel discussion is clause 15A in the agreement. So that is with respect to protecting the brokerage of the home for the real estate agent.
For me, it's not a legal but a moral answer. I believe brokers are Brahmins. The Brahmins to get the buyer and the seller married, or the developer and the prospective purchasers to get married. The Brahmins have to think and to be sure that they have to support the interests of both the parties to be trustworthy and reliable forever. There has to be a time which comes कि सिर्फ डॉक्टर साहब एंड एडवोकेट साहब नहीं, बट रियल एस्टेट के साहब आए वैसा आना चाहिए. And I think that will be the thing which creates that reliability in each and every real estate advisor here.